For the purposes of tax management, self-tax assessment and the like, it is important for us to know the stages in tax audit process. Also for administration and for passing of taxation examinations, especially when we are tax students, it's important to understand tax audit and investigation and the process involved in tax audit, and that is why we are making this video. It is important equally to know that for us to have been communicated with or told by the relevant tax authority, it means that we've been selected. And that brings us to the first important stage in audit and taxation audit processes. Taxation audit processes. Having said that, let us go fully into the details of the stages, and after now we are going to be talking about the function of the intelligence department of tax offices, the functions of intelligence unit or intelligence department of the tax office. So tax audit processes, the first is the selection of taxpayer. So we are going to be selected, our organization will be selected, and after that a preliminary review of our tax file. Preliminary review of our tax file. Don't forget that we had earlier dealt with tax and audit investigation checklist. So or how the preliminary review will go and the like, the information that they are going to take from our tax file had been given. You can check it out, tax audit checklist. So preliminary review of our file will be the next stage after we've been selected. Then we are going to be notified. Notification of taxpayer. We are going to be notified that they will like to audit us and our tax filings and our tax returns. It is important for notification. When we are being notified, it's going to be in writing and it may be by email. Now that electronic email now is allowed as part of evidence even in the law courts of competence jurisdiction. So it could be email notification or it could be hard copy. And it is important that after we've been notified, if for any reason we communicate back on time to relevant tax office. If not, it becomes crystallized and anything against it will be disallowed by the government and will be highly penalized. So we'll be notified. After we've been notified, there will be a form of pre-audit meeting in which we want the relevant tax authority wants to know us better, where we can meet, when we can meet is the notification information, the notification letter is see okay by us and the like. So this form part of the pre-audit meeting that we are going to have, and after that you could expect field audit. So they are going to come and audit us. So pre-audit meeting, and after that we have a field audit, which means that they are coming to our organization, field tax audit. And after that we will have post-audit meeting, pre-audit meeting, just like women among us, we actually understand it prenatal, postnatal. So that is before the audit, then after the audit meeting. So post-audit meeting, and during the post-audit meeting is then they will be telling us their findings, the evidences that they've gathered that probably contradict the amount we have paid, the evidence we've submitted initially, and the like. And after the post-audit meeting, there will be an interim report. Interim report basically is to support the post-audit meeting, is to actually document our post-audit meeting. So we are going to have a report from the tax office stating what they've observed and probably what we agreed on during our physical or an online post-audit meeting. Oh, how things have changed online. Of course, it could be an post-audit meeting, maybe virtually and the like. Nothing like that existed before, but now we have it to stay with us. We can have a virtual meeting. So after we add interim audit reports, if there are any issues that we find with it, we express ourselves. We need to express ourselves, because if we do not express ourselves on time, then it moves on to the next stage of tax audit process, which is tax audit review by the regional and headquarter audit. So post-audit review. This post-audit review now will not be, we will not be part of it, but is the internal organization of the tax office that will do it, the mechanism within the relevant tax authority. So post-audit review will be done, which some arm of the organization or the agency, the regional, the headquarter, we get involved just to be sure that the position that the people sent on the field on behalf of the agency, the position is correct or seemingly correct and agreed upon by the authority to approve it. And after the post audit review, don't how will I put it together, don't confuse post audit meeting that we are involved in as taxpayer against the post audit meeting or review by the regional. So maybe I should put something to demarcate it. Post audit meeting with taxpayer. I hope this clarifies. With taxpayer. So post audit review in tax, among tax officers, so that we understand. Post audit review among tax officers. I hope this clarifies, because it's their internal workings. Then after that, if before they have or finish their internal review too, we actually submitted or called their attention during the interim audit report, on the interim audit report that they've given us, that there are some things we need to clarify, then we are going to have a reconciliation meeting. So reconciliation meeting may exist in some cases, it may not exist in some cases. I hope we understand. Reconciliation. Okay. Reconciliation meeting. Because if everything we agreed on during the post-audit meeting with our tax officer is okay with us, and the interim report they've given us is adequate, then after their post-audit review by the regional tax officer and headquarters, everything crystallizes, unless there are issues which we've raised, is then that we will come again for reconciliation meeting or meetings, as the case may be. And once we agree together after reconciliation meeting, what we will have is the final, I hope you expect that, final audit report, and you can be sure of one content that will be in final audit report is going to be the tax liability that we are now expected to pay. Is going to be tax liability that we are expected to pay. So we just pay our tax liability, and everything will be fine, everything will be okay between us and the relevant tax authority. So next we'll be moving on to understand the mechanism and the function of intelligence unit of the relevant tax authority, in which we'll be talking about how they deal with the information, how they gather information, and how they come about selecting our organization and not our friends, our friends or our neighbors, company and organization. It is important, as I round up, to mention that during the selection, there are some things that predispose us rather to being selected. And let me reiterate that. And as I'm saying this, please go and subscribe to GJ's Associate channel, like, click notification, click all so that you'll be notified. Give us thumbs up, give us thumbs up, and share. Okay, for those of us meeting me for the first time on this channel, my name is Benga Olatunji FCA, and for those that are returning, a very big hug, virtual hug anyway to you. So why are we selected? Many times we are selected because maybe intelligence has gathered it that our business needs to pay more. So that is one. Maybe some transactions, the second leg, maybe our customer and the like had filed some aspect of it with the relevant tax authority. Meanwhile, we think that we are innocent or the like. So we find ourselves being exposed and being selected for more rigorous tax audit, tax investigation. Another thing, which will be the last that I'm going to mention, is if for any reason a taxpayer is trying to claim a refund from the government, that is relevant tax authority, maybe in form of withholding taxes, that is excess and the like, they will want to establish a strong position before they can refund. Government hardly refund. Of course, they can refund when they actually know. So this will predispose us to thorough tax audits and tax investigation before money is released back onto us. So next we'll be talking about intelligence units and the function of intelligence units in relevant tax authority.